What's up, NIO family? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, and the overall market very, very quickly. Just know that I'm not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out my Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. The offer ends very soon in just a couple of weeks. Anyways, now let's talk about what's happening with the markets. So as far as NIO goes, right now we're just completely range bound, going back and forth and back and forth. We haven't really seen much of a breakout in either direction, but I think that we're forming a pennant here. I think NIO is going to get very, very tight before we see a bigger move. However, I don't think the move is going to be that massive. It's going to be a somewhat big move once we try to break out of this, whether it's to the upside or the downside. Hopefully it's to the upside where this 4.9 area happens to be. But there's going to be a much larger move that comes towards the end of the year, if not by early next year. I'm thinking possibly towards the end of this year, and I think that's going to be fueled by NIO Day. So please keep that in mind. That's likely what's going to be happening at least as time goes on. So we might do something like this where we kind of consolidate. I'm hoping we do break to the upside here. If we get that break, we could attempt to slowly push up for that 4.9 area, and then continue to consolidate for a little bit longer. But we have NIO Day on December 21st. So once they announce some very, very important things, it's possible we do see some upside in the share price. And then we have deliveries coming up for the month of December. Now we're expecting some very strong deliveries. If deliveries are very, very strong, this could attempt to get some kind of breakout. And here are going to be some very, very key levels. So if I zoom out and go to, for instance, the weekly time frame, many people are calling out that NIO has this very nice looking falling wedge like structure that is developing, and that this is set for some kind of breakout very soon. You could argue that this is excuse me, this is just like a giant falling wedge right over here, and you could draw this however way you want, but as you guys can see, this has been just developing for quite a while. I think I'll just draw it this way so it's easier to see, and we'll have to see if that leads to some kind of breakout very, very soon. If we do start to break out of this wedge that's been developing for all these months, I would have loved to see that as we're getting tighter and tighter. And that could also lead to a much larger move to the upside as time goes on. So, you guys can see this wedge that's developing like this as we're getting tighter and tighter. It's possible we do maintain this for a little bit longer, but as we approach, once again, the end of this year, if we do get that break, this could start looking for a much bigger push. So, in my opinion, I think that there's going to be a very, very big move coming once we get to the end of the year, if not by next year. There might be some more volatility because of some factors such as CPI for next week. But otherwise, I do think that NIO is just going to consolidate for a little bit longer, and we have to give this more time to develop. That's what my general view of NIO is for now. So I know it's a little bit boring. I know that you guys may not like to hear this, and that's totally okay. But just know, as time goes on, I do think things will improve for NIO. I think we're going to get better margins hopefully as time goes on. Now, the market saw a more mixed day. We did see some tickers like Tesla lead the way up, whereas other stocks were very, very flat. This is what their earnings calendar looks like going into next week. We have Oracle on Monday, AutoZone on Tuesday announcing earnings. On Wednesday, we have Macy's. Then we also have Costco on Thursday. And finally, when it comes to the economic calendar, there's not really much that's coming out. I just want to make it very clear that with things developing the way they are, Monday and Tuesday don't really have much data, but then Wednesdays when we have the CPI reports, so just keep that in mind. That's going to cause a lot more volatility. So just to be very, very clear, we'll watch and see what this leads to, especially with CPI coming out. But let me now just talk about the rest of the charts just to conclude this video. So for NIO, I do expect some chop right over here in this range as we get tighter, but then there might be an attempt to push higher if we break through this. And we could be on our way back up to 4.8. I think NIO is going to be kind of lackluster and trading sideways for a little bit longer until we get to the end of the year. And there's going to be a much larger move as time goes on after that. Besides that, for other stocks out there, Tesla is very explosive. Tesla's running very, very nicely. And I expect this thing to reach around the $400 price target very, very soon. I think there's a good chance of that happening because of the fact that it got this nice breakout right here. And I think that with all the buyers stepping in, 400 is easily going to be coming soon. If we surpass that, we're going to be looking for 414 as our potential target at the all-time high. So look for a lot more upside on Tesla. For SPY, on the other hand, I just want to say that SPY is kind of range bound between 609 and 606, going back and forth and back and forth. We could dip a little bit more to 606, and we'll have to see what kind of reaction we get, but we're kind of stuck here. And then we'll see if we get some kind of break or not. But look at 608 as our resistance area. We'll see if we break through this or not. Otherwise, we're just trading sideways in this range. We could dip a little bit more to 606, then we'll see what kind of reaction we get. So give this some more time to develop. For other factors out there, we have Bitcoin. Bitcoin is also just trading sideways in this range around the 100,000 area. We'll see if we break past the resistance or not, but I think that we're just going to be range bound for the time being around the 100,000 mark. For Nvda, we could be dipping a little bit lower. This could be actually on its way down towards our support at this 141.5 area, if not below. And we'll have to see if we bounce off 140 to get that bounce. Otherwise, it's just range bound. For NQ, this is on a very, very nice break right now. We actually saw this nice break back up to 21,600. If that continues to hold up, we're going to continue this uptrend. Look for a small dip possibly to the breakout area around like 21,560 before it tries to break out higher, but the potential still remains. The QQQ looks more bullish as we're making higher highs and higher lows. We could be retesting 524 before it tries to break out, so keep that in mind. Looks bullish to me. Aapl, on the other hand, is just range bound between 244 and 242. It's going to likely continue to do that until we see some kind of big reaction, so just keep that in mind. So there's not really much going on with it. If 242 fails, though, there's a risk of 241.32. Might be a small dip coming, so just be very mindful of that. Compared to the other stocks out there, I just want to say that the IWM is a little bit weaker right now. So we're not holding above 240 that well. We're on a bit of a downtrend. We could be dipping back down to 236. So just be careful once we approach those levels. For coin is also just range bound. We have this resistance around this 343 area. We have support around 328. We're going back and forth and back and forth. We could be dipping closer to 330. Then we'll see what happens. On top of that, I just want to say that we could end up retesting 330. If anything, then we'll see how it goes. Amazon, on the other hand, is a little bit more bullish. It could be looking for 230 as our potential target. Meta, it's also doing a good job so far. It could be pushing higher as well. I think that as long as we don't lose 620, this is going to be favoring a lot more upside. So if 620 does not break, I think we could be on our way up to 630. This still favors upside, so look for a small dip to the breakout area at 620 or so, and a bounce after that as we continue to push. For other factors out there, we have Microsoft. Microsoft is also doing a great job, in my personal opinion. I think that we're consolidating around the 444 area. We'll have to see if we continue to break out or not. Otherwise, we could be just range bound for the time being. So give that some time to develop. And then for Google's also trading sideways. It's possible we dip a little bit lower back down towards about 174.4, and we'll see if we bounce off that. But overall, I think we're doing a great job. Anyways, that is it for my video. I thank you all so much for listening. I think you guys are absolutely incredible. I really appreciate you guys so much for being there. But just know that as far as this market goes, I think that there's a very, very good chance that we remain, we remain as we typically are. The market remains bullish, but NIO is going to be a little bit weaker. So give this some time to consolidate, and I do think there's going to be a much bigger move, but we have to wait until the end of the year until we see a much larger move. So please keep that in mind. I know it's not what you guys want to hear, but that's what the chart shows, and we just have to be very open-minded and optimistic nonetheless. Thank you for listening, and peace out.